In the second half of the 1960s, a set of electronic circuits known as integrated circuits were invented. An integrated circuit has many transistors, resistors, and capacitors along with the associated circuitry. This development made computers smaller in size, more reliable and efficient. After a more complex multipurpose clock-driven digital integrated circuit known as the microprocessor was introduced, Intel designed the 8008 8-bit microprocessor, followed by an enhanced variant, the 8080, that made its first attempt to be used on some calculators, cash registers, computer terminals, industrial robots, and other applications. Also 8080 was used as the brain of the Altair 8800, that is considered to be the first personal computer. There is another video in this channel about personal computers, but in this video we will talk only about IBM Personal Computer known as PC. IBM was the then pioneering company in mainframes and mid-size computers, that realized the need for a home personal computer, after the widespread usage of this microprocessor. So IBM, in order to save time and money, instead of developing their own hardware and software, decided to use already available off-the-shelf components in an open platform, and use some cheaper CPUs from Intel. The 8080 8-bit processor eventually was replaced by the depletion load-based 8085 in 1977, and it was successful enough that directly influenced the design of the x86 architecture, that was introduced in 1978, as a fully 16-bit extension of the 8-bit design, which became Intel's most successful line of processors until today. The 8086 also would function as a continuation, that had multiplication and division instructions, and the term x86 came into being, because the names of several successors to Intel's 8086 processor end in 86, including the 80186, 80286, 80386 and 80486 processors. IBM's early thoughts into the PC, which included buying Atari as the basis for its quick entry into the home computing market. In 1980, IBM discussed a proposal to base a PC on the Atari 800, but instead, an independent group within IBM was formed to develop IBM's own PC from scratch. Atari had contracted with Bill Gates to modify a basic compiler to be used on the 800, but that project stalled for over a year and did not release. In 1981, IBM introduced the first IBM PC and conquered the market with the IBM 5150, equipped with an Intel's Technology 8088 processor at 4.77 MHz, which is the progenitor of all today's personal computers, PCs. It could address 16 to 640 KB RAM, had a dual 160 KB 5.25-inch floppy disk drives, an IBM Personal Keyboard, and its first operating system, the PCjr version 1.0. Later followed by Microsoft's DOS, the then pioneering company of Bill Gates. The main difference between 8086 and 8088 is the size of their external data bus. So 8088 was a cheaper for the market version, ready to be used for the first IBM PC model 5150 in 1981. For the operating system, IBM went to Digital Research to talk about CP/M, but there was no agreement, but there was also an offer from Bill Gates. For that reason, Microsoft found and bought a program called QDOS, Quick and Dirty DOS, from SCP, Seattle Computer. QDOS was more of a cleanroom re-implementation clone of CP/M, which was modified for IBM needs, as PCjr and later released from Microsoft as MS-DOS. This was the first personal computer known today as a desktop microcomputer, which knocked out all its opponents like the Commodore, Atari, Tandy, Apple, and some others, thus making IBM strong not only in the mainframe computer market, but also in the home computer market. Another success story of IBM was the IBM Keyboard, because IBM was a king in manufacturing typing machines before deploying the IBM PC. From March 1984 to May 1985, IBM marketed and released the PCjr, Red PC Jr., a home computer that didn't sell well and went out of market. One of the most far-reaching decisions made for IBM PC was to use an open architecture, with common add-in boards, applications, and other components giving the opportunity to third-party machines to enter the market and produce PC clones. In 1983, Compaq Computer Corp introduces IBM's first clone, and 1 year later in 1984, PCAT, PC Advanced Technology, is released from IBM, which is 3 times faster than the original PC, and is based on the new Intel Microprocessor, 286. The AT has a 16-bit ISA bus and is the most modern for the time of the computer. In 1985, Philips presents the CD-ROM. In 1986, Compaq announces the Desk Pro 386 computer, and the same year, the first Amstrad PC, PC 1512, followed by PC 1640, appears. They are the cheapest personal computers in Europe with the same capabilities as IBM's most expensive and other manufacturers. Their appearance gives great impetus to the personal computer market. In 1987, IBM presents PS2 microcomputers, which have a 3.5-inch floppy disk and a VGA card. In 1989, Intel presents the P4, known as the 486 microprocessor, which contains more than 1 million transistors. At the same time, it presents the chipset for motherboards that will accept the new microprocessor. In 1990, the web service is created with the decisive contribution of Tim Berners-Lee, a CERN researcher. Lee creates HTTP protocol, web addressing, current URL precursor, and HTML web markup language. And in 1991, the development of the Linux operating system begins by Linus Torvalds. In 1993, Intel introduces the Pentium microprocessor, P5. Its processors no longer get name numbers but code names, and in 1995, Intel introduces Pentium Pro, the first in the P6 family. Also in 1995, Microsoft introduces Windows 95, the first operating system for personal computer clones, based on MS-DOS, but with Graphical Processing Environment, GUI. Soon Intel presents the Pentium II microprocessor, a Pentium Pro with MMX technology for multimedia support. And in 1998, Intel introduces Celeron, a cheaper version of the Pentium II processor. In 1999, Intel presents Pentium III, a Pentium II microprocessor equipped with SSE, streaming SIMD extensions. In 2000, Microsoft introduces Windows Millenium, an improved version of Windows 98 on the occasion of the launch of the new millennium. They still rely on MS-DOS and are not widespread known. Microsoft introduces Windows 2000 that stop using MS-DOS, and together, Intel and AMD, are touching the processor timing frequency of 1 GHz. Also in 2000, the Itanium microprocessor is presented as a new member of the P7 microprocessor family. We will come to an end to our story, in order to stay focused near the vintage, retro era and stop here near 2000. It's good to say that all the operating systems from Microsoft depended on DOS, until Windows XP was released 1 year later, which was the first operating system from Microsoft that was no longer dependent on MS-DOS. The evolution of the IBM and compatibles technology continues until today, and all the desktop CPUs are backward compatible with the first IBM 5150 with Intel 8088 CPU, introduced in 1981. This is a brief summary of the IBM PC until the millennium. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more.